Wirecard was a German payment processing company that was once considered a rising star in the tech industry. The company was founded in 1999 and quickly grew to become one of the largest payment processing companies in Europe, with operations in over 50 countries. However, in early 2020, a series of financial irregularities were uncovered at the company, which led to a dramatic fall from grace. The irregularities included false accounting practices, such as overstating the value of its assets and underreporting its liabilities, and these practices were used to cover up massive holes in its balance sheet. As the financial irregularities were uncovered, the value of Wirecard's stock plummeted, and the company was eventually forced to file for insolvency in June 2020. The insolvency proceedings were one of the largest in German history, and they sparked a criminal investigation into the company's practices. The criminal investigation revealed a massive fraud that had been taking place at the company for years, and several top executives, including the CEO Markus Braun, were arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including fraud, embezzlement, and market manipulation. The investigation also revealed that Wirecard had been involved in a number of illegal activities, including money laundering, bribery, and tax evasion. The fall of Wirecard had a major impact on the German economy, as well as on the broader financial community. The company was one of the largest payment processing companies in Europe, and its collapse had a ripple effect throughout the financial system, causing major losses for banks, investors, and customers. In the aftermath of the Wirecard scandal, there has been a major push to improve financial regulation and oversight in Germany and throughout Europe, in order to prevent similar scandals from happening in the future. The case has also raised important questions about the role of auditors, regulators, and the financial media in uncovering and preventing financial fraud. Overall, the events of Wirecard have been a major shock to the financial world, and they serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of financial transparency, accountability, and ethics in the corporate world. Wirecard, a German payment processing company, was implicated in a series of financial irregularities that led to its downfall. These irregularities included overstated revenue. Wirecard was accused of falsely inflating its revenue and profit figures, which were used to give the impression of a highly successful company. This was achieved by artificially increasing the value of its assets and underreporting its liabilities. Missing cash balances. Wirecard was unable to account for over €1.9 billion in cash balances, which led to questions about the company's financial health and the validity of its financial statements. False accounting practices. Wirecard was found to have used a number of accounting practices that were designed to cover up the holes in its balance sheet and to make its financial statements appear more favorable. Money laundering. Wirecard was accused of being involved in money laundering, which is the process of concealing the proceeds of illegal activities and making them appear legitimate. Tax evasion. Wirecard was also implicated in tax evasion, which is the illegal practice of avoiding paying taxes. Bribing. Wirecard was accused of paying bribes to secure business deals, which is illegal in many countries. These financial irregularities were uncovered in early 2020, which led to a rapid decline in the company's stock price and eventually led to its insolvency in June 2020. The scandal resulted in a criminal investigation and the arrest of several top executives, including the CEO Markus Braun, who were charged with multiple crimes, including fraud, embezzlement, and market manipulation. The events of Wirecard have been a major shock to the financial world and have raised important questions about financial transparency and accountability in the corporate world. Overstated revenue. Wirecard was accused of overstating its revenue figures in order to give the impression of a highly successful company. This involved artificially increasing the value of its assets and underreporting its liabilities in its financial statements. This type of false accounting was used to make the company appear more profitable and to attract more investment. By overstating its revenue, Wirecard was able to mislead investors, regulators, and the public into thinking that it was performing better than it actually was. The false accounting practices used to inflate its revenue figures were eventually discovered, which led to a rapid decline in its stock price and a loss of trust in the company. This resulted in a criminal investigation and the eventual insolvency of Wirecard in June 2020. Missing cash balances. Wirecard was unable to account for over €1.9 billion in cash balances, which raised questions about the financial health of the company. This was a significant issue, as cash balances are a key indicator of a company's financial stability. The missing cash balances led to suspicions of financial irregularities, and they sparked a series of investigations into the company's practices. These investigations revealed that the company had been engaging in false accounting practices in order to hide the holes in its balance sheet. The missing cash balances ultimately contributed to the company's downfall and its eventual insolvency in June 2020. False accounting practices. Wirecard was found to have used a number of false accounting practices in order to cover up the holes in its balance sheet and to make its financial statements appear more favorable. These false accounting practices included overstating revenue and profit figures, underreporting liabilities, and using misleading accounting entries to conceal problems with its financial statements. The false accounting practices used by Wirecard were eventually uncovered, which led to a rapid decline in its stock price and a loss of trust in the company. This resulted in a criminal investigation, which led to the arrest of several top executives and the eventual insolvency of Wirecard in June 2020. The events of Wirecard have raised important questions about the importance of financial transparency and accountability in the corporate world. Money laundering. Wirecard was accused of being involved in money laundering, which is the process of concealing the proceeds of illegal activities and making them appear legitimate. This illegal activity involves moving funds from criminal activities through the financial system to make them appear legitimate, and it is a serious crime that can result in substantial fines and even imprisonment. The accusations of money laundering against Wirecard were a significant contributing factor to its downfall, as they raised questions about the legitimacy of its financial practices and the trustworthiness of its executives. The money laundering allegations were part of a larger investigation into the company's financial irregularities, which ultimately led to its insolvency in June 2020. Tax evasion. Wirecard was implicated in tax evasion, which is the illegal practice of avoiding paying taxes. This can involve not reporting all of a company's income, underreporting the value of its assets, or claiming false deductions in order to lower its tax bill. The allegations of tax evasion against Wirecard were a major factor in its downfall, as they raised questions about the company's financial practices and the integrity of its executives. The tax evasion allegations were part of a larger investigation into the company's financial irregularities, which ultimately led to its insolvency in June 2020. The events of Wirecard have raised important questions about the importance of tax compliance and the role of the government in ensuring that companies pay their fair share of taxes. Fraudulent schemes. Wirecard was accused of being involved in fraudulent schemes, which are illegal activities that are intended to deceive people for personal gain. This can include activities such as false accounting, money laundering, and other illegal activities that are designed to manipulate the financial system for personal gain. The allegations of fraudulent schemes against Wirecard were a major factor in its downfall, as they raised questions about the integrity of the company and the trustworthiness of its executives. The fraudulent schemes were part of a larger investigation into the company's financial irregularities, which ultimately led to its insolvency in June 2020. The events of Wirecard have raised important questions about the importance of financial transparency and accountability in the corporate world, and they serve as a warning to investors and regulators about the need to be vigilant in monitoring the activities of companies. The German government responded to the series of financial irregularities of Wirecard by launching a criminal investigation into the company's practices. The investigation was led by the German Public Prosecutor's Office, and it was supported by regulatory agencies such as the Financial Supervisory Authority, BaFin. The German government also imposed stricter regulations on the financial sector in response to the Wirecard scandal. This included the introduction of new laws designed to increase transparency and accountability in the financial sector, as well as increased fines for companies that engage in fraudulent activities. In addition, the German government provided support to affected investors, including those who had suffered losses due to the collapse of Wirecard. This included compensation for some investors and increased protection for others, such as small investors and pension funds. Overall, the German government took a tough stance on the Wirecard scandal, as it was seen as a major failure of the financial regulatory system. The government was determined to prevent similar events from occurring in the future, and it has implemented a number of measures to ensure that the financial sector operates more transparently and responsibly. Unfortunately, financial irregularities such as those seen in the case of Wirecard could potentially occur in the future. The financial sector is complex and prone to manipulation, and there will always be companies and individuals who seek to exploit the system for their own gain. However, it is important to note that the financial events of Wirecard have prompted regulatory agencies and governments around the world to take action to prevent similar events from occurring in the future. This has included the introduction of new laws, increased enforcement, and increased scrutiny of the financial sector. In addition, investors and the public have become more aware of the risks associated with financial irregularities, and they are more likely to be cautious when investing in companies that show signs of financial irregularity. Therefore, while it is impossible to guarantee that similar events will not occur in the future, it is likely that the measures that have been taken in response to the Wirecard scandal will help to reduce the risk of similar events occurring.